I've been hearing a lot about this band Sleep Token. I haven't listened to them at all. Literally, this is going to be a first blindside reaction to pretty much what they sound like. Because the only stuff I've heard is that they are progressive in the sense that they're using a lot of different sounds, but I've heard a lot of mixed things about these guys. I've heard on one hand they're amazing, and I've heard on other hands that they're a very, I don't know, poppy kind of sound. I've heard them compared to Ghost before. I could be completely off base on this one because, like I said, the only stuff I've heard here is like just things that have popped through my little grapevine here and there. But basically, I have no idea how this is going to sound like. I have no idea if I'm going to like this. I have no idea if I'm going to hate this. All I do know is that I'm insanely tired right now, and hopefully this will wake me up. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and listen to it. Very new age kind of sounding hard, rock. I'm going to call them hard rock right now. I mean, it's a nice soundscape. Like, I like it so far, but there's not so far too many interesting, unique things happening right now. It seems like they've kind of just merged the hard, like heavy metal, genty kind of sound with a pop kind of sound right now. It's okay so far. Nothing really standing out yet, but this is the type of song that obviously introduces the album, so it depends on how this contextualizes itself with the rest of the music. So usually the second track, because that's more the intro atmospheric track, depends on how this next track continues the vibe. Yeah, like that. Like, I didn't want to say that they were going to do it because, like I said, I don't know the sound of this band yet. But I was like, usually on the second track, that's when they like kick it into a higher gear to try and contextualize that, like first track to give it that boost of energy. I'm always a sucker for those like not necessarily polymeter, but like bouncing around the strong beats kind of sound. There it is. That good rhythm. Ooh. There it is. Almost kind of want them to stick with that sound. That being said, I am more of that hard rock and metal kind of person. So far, they're mixing the sounds well, though. Like, this doesn't necessarily feel disjointed, although I can see if people would feel that way. It doesn't necessarily feel that way. Like, it all still flows, but there is that huge contrast in, like, what that last section sounded like and this very ethereal sound. So far, I like this song a lot more. Because each different piece of it sounds good. Like, the choruses sound nice, the heavy parts sound nice. Although to say, nothing's really jumping too far out, like riff-wise yet, or honestly chorus-wise yet. Like, it's pretty by the numbers. It's well done by the numbers, but like, I would love to listen to this again. Like, this is a song that's definitely worth listening to, but I want something to jump out at me. You know what I mean? I'm looking for some riff or some vocal melody to really just get embedded in my brain. There we go. That's something to jump out at me. It is feeling like I can see why some people like that are more diehard metal-y wouldn't like this, because it feels more pop-based. It doesn't feel metal-based. It feels like they came up with the pop side of it, like that's the main meat and potatoes of this, and the rest is just adding to it to differentiate it from all the rest of pop. But mixing the pop vibe with the metal vibe can only get you so far. Cause like so far, I mean, I've been looking for it, but I haven't really had the chance to have like an instrumental break to talk over. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying, it's clear that the focus here is giving that like pop vocal focus, which means the focus on instrumentation isn't there, and I'm a sucker for interesting instrumentation. 4 tracks in. So far, that second track was the best one. 4, huh? Yeah? Hopefully, this track will be something I can stick my teeth into. There we go. See, I can just eat that up. See, this is cool. I really like this one so far. It's not because it's the heavy track, okay? I like it for more than that. I like the more interesting instrumentation here, alright? See, this feels like a very modernized take on the mix between pop and metal. It's almost someone heard Ghost and wanted to make it just more intense, but also at the same time more poppy. It's like they took Ghost and went to both ends of their sound, and then like took those ends and smashed them together. So it's like, in other words, they went more poppy and they went more heavy, and then tried to mix those two sounds. And it's like, and this is a problem I have with a lot of modern metal. I love modern metal if it's done interesting, because we have so much inspiration to draw from now. It's like you can have so many interesting ideas. Like, I like Ghost, or at least the more first half of the discography because of the eerie sound. But a lot of bands nowadays, when it comes to modern metal, are more interested in creating a pleasant sounding soundscape as opposed to interesting sounding instrumentation. That's what this song's doing. It has that, like I said, it's more pop focused. So in other words, like if you listen to the guitars, they're mainly sticking to one note that changes with the chords. The backing tracks are just tend to be accentuating those chords. There's no interesting instrumentation. There's no interesting melodies. The vocals over it are very, just pop, give you something catchy, elongated to sing along with or be like lost in. But even there's nothing that really sticks out, that you can grab and go, this is something memorable. It's like, it all does the job, See, when I talk about that instrumentation that's kind of lacking, like, this is what I mean, like, the piano, do, but it's just going up the chord. There's, like, no actual identifiable melody that's unique here. It's just taking the chord and just arpeggiating it. See, it sounds nice though. Everything sounds nice. It just... Give me something unique. Give me something that'll make me want to come back and hear these tracks again, In theory, like in the music theory, in the construction, the structure, it doesn't break new ground necessarily. The best way I can say it is like Leprous. I love Leprous. This feels like Diet Leprous. If you haven't heard Leprous, listen to them, because they perfected this formula of catchy choruses with heavy instrumentation. They know how to make those riffs. They know how to make those choruses that get stuck in your head, and they know how to just genre bend it. Sorry. Like, if I didn't hear those other tracks, I would really like this song. It's so far, this album suffers from being contextualized. Like, if I took these songs out and isolated them, listened to them on their own, I'd be like, that's an interesting sound. But by putting them all back to back so far, it's like... So far, this is really good. Keep this one rolling, because this is like a very fun little guitar line here that I love so far. See, it's not just arpeggio. I mean, it is arpeggiated chords, but it's very interesting. Yes! There we go, yes. Interesting guitar work, excellent vocal melodies on top. It's so far, it's the most, like, away from the norm sounding. Because like I said, everything's just been these big, grandiose soundscape pop sounds. And this is pop sounding. And it's still the same type of, like, vibe, but it's so much more interesting. See, this track is fantastic. This is a fantastic track because they're using those chord soundscapes this time to actually give that rest of the track context to thicken it, but you still have that identifiable groove with the guitar going through it, and the lyrics are so passionate and the melody was so beautiful. That was one of the best tracks. I think I actually feel myself getting sleepy again. I don't want to say that it's mean, but it's true. I have nothing to say. What? It's disappointingly just by the book. I was hoping for something more interesting. It's like we hit that high and then they just got comfortable with a certain kind of sound and just stuck to that sound for the rest of the tracks. Like, sure, you're bouncing between light pop and like heavy distorted low tuned guitars, but if you do it for every track, what's special? It feels like every track has been the same track. I never thought on this one when I was listening to it, like, I'm realizing now that this album is me being out of my element for sure. Because I'm a progressive kind of person. I like hearing bands and artists do interesting things, different things, unique things. And there's a whole industry dedicated to the opposite of that. And you know what I mean. Just like taking music and making it mathematical, seeing what's catchy, what works, what catches people's attention initially. And those bands tend to try to create a sound that is inoffensive. And this just feels like that. It's like the emphasis here is creating a nice sound, like one that is pleasing to the ear, and then just producing the hell out of that sound. That's what this is. I would prefer a bad sounding mix with interesting ideas over a great sounding mix with pleasing ideas. And this is so just designed for pleasure and not for intellect and not for challenging oneself musically. So depending on what you're looking for, if you want to just enjoy a nice sound with the heavy guitars in the background, go for it. I hope you enjoy it. I'm wanting still something. I've spent this whole album waiting for something to stick out for me. In a moment like this, usually, because obviously this is probably the big ending, grandiose to the song and maybe album, Usually this is a point where I'm like, whoa, you brought it in. But I can't even feel it with that. I feel like it's not earned. I feel like it's not justified. Because even down to the riff, it's just that one note chugging along, djenting away. And it can work if it's built right for that. But this is just like, it's being used as just the heavy part of the ending, you know, of the track. It doesn't feel earned. I was just hoping for more. Desperately disappointed that there wasn't more to that. It was just pop sound, heavy guitar sometimes, inoffensive song structures. I'm saying like that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's like, when I say inoffensive, it's just like, it's so by the numbers, so by the book, so nothing special. Obviously, this is a band that kind of has this kind of sound that no one really has right now. And in saying that, it does also kind of lie. Specifically, like, the sound they have is unique to their own. But the idea, the premise has already been executed by other bands and better bands and done better. Listen to Leprous, listen to Periphery. There's been 2 decades worth of melodic djent at this point. You can find it easily through other bands. That is just disappointingly just generic. It's really all there is to it. Kind of disappointed. Hopefully they're able to make their instrumentation more interesting in the future. But for now, I think that's all I really have to say about that. There's not much there, so there's not much to say, honestly. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're not mad. Catch you later. Oh.